Today we have the next of our versus range. We have the old timer, the legend, the myth, the game changer, Luxilon Alu Power
versus the young punk upstart O-Toro from Toroline.
Let's see which one comes out on top. And so the reason for this versus, this challenge, is because Toroline themselves on their own website put O-Toro up against Alu Power. I guess in some way quite respectful of Alu Power, as that's kind of one of the first main co-poly strings, right, that kind of changed the game in tennis string. Alu Power, a round string, so that's kind of its first main difference to O-Toro. We've obviously picked the 1.25 gauge Alu Power to be as close as possible to the
1.23 that O-Toro comes in.
And clearly you can also see we have this in a lovely ocean blue as opposed to the more effervescent neon green. We have strung two of our V-Core 100s, are perfectly matched, weighted and balanced V-Core 100s, so there can be no discrepancies between the frames in the two frames. Freshly strung, same stringer, same time, same conditions, both at 50 pounds. So it is as scientific as it gets.
Yes, we are not going to skimp on the details when it comes to getting our science just right.
So let's go and do it.
Okay.
We tested Alu Power in this lovely V-Core against Toroline's O-Toro in this other lovely V-Core. Let's just go straight in.
Yep.
Which one would you pick?
O-Toro. What would you pick?
I'm not quite sure.
No.
I feel like I maybe need this discussion to help finalise my opinion.
Oh, so this is going to be a live decision, mate.
Yeah, I genuinely, because as we were playing and doing the test, that's all the question I keep asking myself. Like, if you had to play tomorrow with one of these two records, which one would you pick? Which one would you pick? Which one would you pick? And the conclusion that I came to driving back was, I think it's based on condition.
Yes.
If I was playing on a quicker court and I had less time, I would probably use O-Toro.
Yep.
If I was playing on a slower court and I was maybe having a longer swing, being more aggressive, I would use Alu Power. So maybe we should probably unpack that. And the reason for that is the difference in, I think, maybe the feel.
Yeah, it is.
O-Toro feels better, but different.
Yeah, I think we have had many comments on our videos, thank you very much, by the way, about us preferring what people describe as lower level strings.
Oh, harsh.
Yeah, so it's strings that are designed for weaker players. And essentially,
harsh.
we feel like we enjoy strings that are a little bit livelier, a bit more crisp, a bit more vivacious, not my words, Toroline's words.
Good.
But just strings that are just a bit more, I would say, fun. Whereas that isn't Alu Power, right? We are describing the opposite of Alu Power there. So Alu Power feels a lot more solid, heavy, which means if you've got the time, and this is what you're saying about conditions, if you've got the time to wind up and give it a massive, great big swing, huge hits, then Alu Power sort of comes into its own. But the rest of the time, O-Toro sort of just helps you along a little bit.
Yeah, let's break it down into some nice, easy to understand segments.
Yes.
Power. Now, this is actually quite interesting because Toroline say that O-Toro is better than Alu Power in everything apart from power.
Yes, but we disagree.
And this may be down to the feel.
Yeah.
That O-Toro feels more powerful and it feels a bit more wild, but when it actually comes to scientifically
how fast the ball
goes, then Alu Power is more powerful.
Yes.
But the sensation of power probably does fit with O-Toro, which kind of leads us into touch. Not touch, the feel of impact.
Yeah, I guess what you could say is there's an illusion of power.
Yeah.
Because what you're feeling is crisp, snappy, and that is all to do with the resilience peak.
Yes.
So O-Toro has a very high resilience peak. That means it plays more similarly to natural guts, as in it snaps back to its natural shape, its standard shape, quicker and sharper, and that's what you feel.
Yep.
Alu Power doesn't have such a high resilience peak. It's a little bit slower when it deforms, and therefore you just get more of a crisp feel as opposed to a wooden or muted feel from Alu Power.
That was a little geeky, wasn't it?
It's good.
So, on feel,
Yes.
which one would you say is better?
I prefer O-Toro.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
you could argue when it came to ball impact feel and the sensational return through your hand. I don't think you could argue that O-Toro isn't the better feeling string. So power, Alu Power gets it, but with the illusion of O-Toro kind of also getting it.
Yeah.
Feel, O-Toro gets it. Spin.
Oh, this is,
It's not a fair fight though. Alu Power's round.
yes. That little sharp, those edges, those hexagonal edges.
Six-sided.
The O-Toro spin is almost unbelievable, and it was a surprise, and absolutely dominates Alu Power when it comes to spin. It's not even close. If you want as much spin as possible, you're going to choose O-Toro over Alu Power every single time, no matter who you are or where you're playing.
Oh, that was very conclusive.
Unequivocal.
Nice word. So we now have control. Now, control is often the topic for many arguments here at PH Tennis because there is two different things. There is controlling the ball at impact, and there is controlling the outcome. So we've just talked about spin. Obviously, spin is the main way in tennis that we control the outcome. So O-Toro already kind of has that element of more control in terms of controlling the ball, but controlling your actual shots and the feeling of control, not overhit and not the ball not flying out the back of the court, not being too lively.
Yep. It's Alu Power.
It's Alu Power.
Yes. The sort of dense, heavy, muted feel gives the sense of control. Like you feel like the racket and the ball are making contact, and you know exactly what is happening.
And this is why I think I'm leaning towards Alu Power, because we put that bit together. You feel like you've got control, and you get more power as outcome without it feeling out of control.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a big win. But you do have to go for it still.
Yes, and I think this is ultimately the element of control where I would still say O-Toro has the edge, because it plays sharper and lively and you get all that spin. I feel like you have to work so hard with Alu Power, it kind of sucks you into playing harder and faster, that there is an element of loss of control there. Do you see what I mean? Like the feeling, this feels nice, it's like it's helping you, whereas this feels like it's asking you to do some work. Make
There we
sense?
go. Yeah. In summation, we now have to decide which one would you pick and why in one sentence.
O-Toro, because it feels more fun.
And I would pick Alu Power because the more you do, the better it gets.
Yes. But serving, I thought there's very little difference at all. And it was more as the game sort of developed where you started to notice the differences a bit more. And again, that kind of makes sense because the serve is just standing there and unleashing onto the ball. Whereas when there's a bit more nuance, a bit more change, a bit more variation, that's when the differences start to come out a little bit more.
Who would O-Toro suit? Would someone who currently uses Alu Power enjoy O-Toro, for example? Should they switch?
I don't think so. I think they're very, very different. And the sort of the strangest thing about this whole experience has been why Toroline have compared these two strings.
Yeah, and
they
I
don't
think
really seem like they're for the same purpose.
Yeah, and I think maybe it's to do with the fact that this was the original co-poly, the beginning of this era of modern polyester strings that we currently are thriving in.
Yeah.
And that's probably why.
Yes, it's more of an homage to the original, and in 30 years, we have managed to come up with something that Toroline say is better. I say feels better. You say it doesn't play better. So
yeah, certain characteristics are better, of course, but I think that's the point of this review, is that personally I would use this, but I think the fact it's round, it gets that it's the control element when you're playing a bigger game where it wins out. If you don't have that sort of game, then I think O-Toro would be the string for you. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a comment below. Please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The support really does mean a lot to us and help us continue to bring you this content we hope you find valuable and somewhat entertaining.
Yep, thank you very much for watching. You will see us very soon, I'm sure.